conceptual perspective, things people talk about desirable success, all of the elements they think, intelligence, expertise. Hey, how much am I willing to give up, stand commitment, and are not committed to the struggle, acquiescing to the struggle, they're committed.
Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. Hope that everybody's having an awesome day. As for me, it has been a very busy week. The wife and I attended the 4th annual All Black National Convention. I actually served as a speaker and panelist on yesterday's discussion on the epidemic and health crisis in the Black community. There were a number of challenges that we were able to overcome. So it turned out to be a good weekend for us. Got some time to spend to ourselves, with so many kids, even the adult kids, it's hard to get quiet time. And we were able to have some of that over the course of the weekend. So it was good. I spent the balance of the day after we finished and kind of celebrated and everything. Spent the balance of the day trying to get my thoughts together for the next push. We're pushing now for goals through which we're going to close out the year. We have some very challenging and huge goals that we're pushing for. And my goal is to put us in the best position possible to achieve those goals. And with that being said, I want to talk to you about goals that almost everybody at some level have, whether they talk about it, whether they've written it down, whether they've did anything to really truly solidify and create the necessary dynamic to achieve it. There's something in their mind. It may be highly ambiguous, it may be highly abstract, but it's there. And we're talking about money goals. And what I want to talk to you today about when it comes to money, whether you're talking about money from the perspective of business, revenue generation, if you're talking about money from the perspective of investing, if you're talking about money from the perspective of earning a salary, there's one thing that you have to have a complete and lucid understanding or perspicacity of as it pertains to money if you want to have the ability to successfully manage and navigate finance. And that is an understanding of what your relationship is with money and the entire financial structure. Everyone has a relationship with money. Most people don't know they do, and most people don't understand how that relationship dictates their current position when it comes to money. So what we have to do is we have to get to a point of understanding the relationship. I'm not talking about techniques today. I'm not talking about investment opportunities. I'm just going to talk about the importance of understanding where your relationship is. And if your relationship with money isn't the type of relationship that is going to be conducive to you achieving your desired goals, then you're going to have to restructure and create a new relationship with money. It's that simple. As with anything, relationships sort of set the boundaries. Understanding the parameters of a relationship sets the boundaries of the interaction. If you don't have an understanding of the boundaries, then you're going to have a problem with dealing with those, any type of consistency in managing that. So let's talk. Hello, Kim. Hello, Ms. Hamilton. Hello, Sandy. Anybody else who's checking in. So let's talk. But before I do, I want to remind you, you can click the link in the description box, go and get your copy of Critical Mass, or you can also get the bundle with I Am. And I can't wait for my actual copy to get in so I can show the book. I love what we've done with it. I'm excited about that. That's book number 21. I've been kind of quiet about the release because we're still kind of behind in getting me my copy so I can touch it And then we can really start to talk about it, promote it, and and a bunch of other things. It's still, even though I know it's completed, it's still not done till I hold that first copy. That's just been my practice over the years. But anyway, you can still order. With that being said, let's talk. Everyone has a relationship with money. Now, most people don't understand it. Most people definitely don't know how to manage it, how to create it. Let me give you some of the simple definitions of types of relationship. There is the poverty mindset, where the relationship is a relationship of lack and disconnection. What do I mean by that? Money exists. People who have this relationship with money know it exists, but there's a disconnect. There is a sense of lack, a sense of disconnectivity, a sense of distance. And what that means is they know it exists, but in their mindset, it's so far away that there's no closeness, there's no interaction with it. And when it does land in their hand, they handle it with desperation. They handle it with uncertainty. They handle it without truly understanding who's in control. That type of person normally operates in a mindset in which money is in control instead of them. And what I mean by that is everything is governed by money, because there is a sense or an idea or a belief that they lack it. And because they lack it, they are desperate for it. And when you're desperate for something, the pursuit of it puts you in desperate, foolish situations. You make poor decisions, and you never seem to find the balance. Then there are those who have relationships with money in which they're connected to it, but they're still not in the driver's seat, because their only idea of money is through earning money as a salary. So their whole goal is set around preparing themselves and gifting and skilling themselves for the purpose of getting a job that pays them the amount of money that they desire. And there are so many different variances of each of these type of situations. Then there's the person who sees money solely as a means or as a mechanism, and also sees it as something that's in abundance and accessible. And when you see money as something that is in abundance and accessible, you see it outside of the confines and the construct that social and political and financial structures try to present it to you. This is the only way you can get it. One of the narratives. If you don't do this, you can't have it. If you don't look like this and you don't belong here, you can't have it. And there are all these different constructs that people try to guide you down and control the narrative of the relationship that you have with money. The truth is, money is simply a means. It is a means of accomplishing or doing something that you love to do, or that you're passionate about, or that you have a responsibility for. Taking care of your family, providing your family with a future, reaching in and helping the less fortunate, and so many other different things that you can have a passion for, that has an intrinsic value, that has something that brings value to the table that you serve on. And so when you look at it, it's simply a means. It's not the end, it is a means. The end is what you're able to do with it. And because a lot of what we want to do in life requires money, we have started to view money in the wrong perspective. We start to see money as the end all. So, and that's why so many people get money and find themselves unhappy, because they made money the end game. They made money, if I just get this amount of money, I'll be good. No, what are you going to do with the money? Because what you'll find is that when you develop a relationship with money, where you understand money as simply being a means, and then you understand what the end is. The end is serving the community, funding programs that help other people, being able to take care of your wife and your kids, being able to do things for your wife that you know will make her happy, things that fulfill you in a way that simply buying stuff out of a store cannot do. And what happens is something unique happens. And what happens is when you start to see money simply as a medium or a means, and then you understand what the end is making my wife happy. The end is building wealth for my family and generations to come, serving and creating programs in the communities about things I'm passionate about, and all these different things. Then you start to actually see that there are many times you can do these things that are the end and not have money. And the more you find out that you can do things and make your presence felt without money, money stops being so emphatically enforceful in your life that it's no longer a pressure. See, the more you think you got to have money, the more pressure it is. And the more emphatic the idea of you not having how much you think you need becomes. And it becomes a blockage because you're looking and say, man, for me to live the life that I want to live, I got to have that. And this is all I got. But when you start to say, I'm going to start creating ways to do things, the more you create opportunities outside of this one avenue or this one medium or this one means, then the less influential or the less stressful or whatever. Then when you understand money is not my wife, money is not my side piece, money is not anywhere that far up the ladder that it's going to totally shape my world if money isn't there for a minute. And there'll be times, no matter how successful you are, that there are going to be cash flow problems. Money's not going to be readily available. Maybe you got it invested in a project. Maybe you got it invested in some solid investments that are long-term, slow yield. And so you got cash flow problems, and you start to judge yourself based on cash. So you judge yourself based on impact. You judge yourself based on what you're capable of doing at any given time. And the truth is, whether you have money or not, you can still be impactful in this world because impact isn't based on money. Now, money can facilitate impact in specific ways, but just because you can't do it that way doesn't mean it can't be done. And the thing is, I tell people all the time, your greatest asset isn't your bank account. Your greatest asset aren't your hardline assets like property and gold or any other thing that's hardline, it's not in stocks. Your greatest asset is your resourcefulness, the ability to say, this is what I need to get done and find a way to do it. And it's probably not going to be the way that it's always been done or that person did it or this person did it. It's going to be in a way that your creativity, your imagination, your passion, your push, your strength of desire just says, I'm not going to stop until I have it. If I get the money, great. If not, I'm going to find another way to do it. And there's always another way to do it. You just got to be creative. You got to take the blinders off and the barriers and parameters down. Stop thinking inside of the box. Start thinking laterally, outside of the box. Get out of the box. Start thinking of things that maybe have never been done or only a few people have done them. Start talking to people that's done it before. Find out the different ways that they did it. Get away from conventional thinking. Get away from conventional thought. Be willing to explore outside of the boundaries of this box you've lived in that says this is the way you get money or this is the way you make things happen. If you don't have money, this is what's going to happen to you. And start thinking outside of the box. The greatest things in life take place outside of the box. The most impactful situations and most impactful impressions on this world and this universe happen outside of the box. And so even when you're thinking about money and money is the focus, get out of the box. The greater things are happening outside of the box. You got to think, most people are in the box. Most people have jobs. Most people go to work every day. Most people do all these things. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. We talked about this on the panel yesterday. A Gallup poll showed that 85% of the people in this world, not just in the US, in this world, wake up and go to a job every day that they hate. 85%. In the US, it's a little better than that for certain groups. It's around 70+%. That's still extremely high. And then with other groups, specifically minorities and especially Blacks, it's higher. And there are a number of different variables, which I'm not going to get into, but these contribute to the fact that people are in places that they, and as I said yesterday, one of the problems is when it comes to why so many people are unhappy on their jobs is that people have unfortunately mistaken their job for their work or their passion or their purpose. And so they're looking for their job to bring them a fulfillment that only working in their purpose can bring them. See, the job can bring you a certain amount of money that's agreed upon. When you take the job or when you get a raise or whatever, that's what's agreed upon. I'm going to exchange services for cash. Now, that doesn't require that you be in your purpose. It simply requires that you can provide the services that you have told the people you can provide, and then they'll provide the cash. That's the deal. You show up and provide the services at an exceptional level, or even an acceptable level, and this is the money we're going to give you in exchange. Doesn't require that you operate in your passion. Here's the problem. This is one of the quickest ways to find out that money does not provide fulfillment. I know a bunch of people loaded, unhappy, unfulfilled. I used to be one of those people about 20 years ago. Things rolling smoothly, getting everything you think you want, and empty. Why? Because there's something inside of you that hasn't been addressed yet. There's something inside of you that you need to do. I tell people all the time, the first half of my life was about me doing what I want to do, me buying what I want to buy, me going where I want to go. The second half is about a legacy. The second half is about fulfilling my purpose. The second half is about stepping out and doing things that will speak for me long after I'm gone. See, all that stuff you bought, you probably can't use it anymore, or it's outdated now because everything is outdated so rapidly and fast now. It doesn't have anything close to the value you thought it had when you first bought it. And so it's useless. And it's just these useless pursuits that produce nothing. It's when you start to walk in your purpose that you give meaning to the money. Because if you don't have a meaning or a role or a purpose for the money, you tend to try to place it in places that give you this feeling you're looking for. And then at the end of the day, you still don't have the feeling. Why? Because there's a void in you that you only feel by walking and living in your purpose, by functioning on the passion that has been created by your purpose. And this is this thing that you're going to have to understand, this relationship with money. Money is a means, solely and simply. It is an understanding that you are the creator of the opportunities that you have in your life. You don't chase money. You don't go in pursuit of money. You attract it. You create opportunities through the development of self, through the intentional growth of self, through the pursuit of being your best possible self. And then you allow money to be attracted to you by the way that you put out from inside. When you're giving, when you're touching, when you're lifting, when you're edifying, when you're empowering, when you're motivating, when you're inspiring, when you're looking to give into something, you set up and open up the gates that attract. You set the frequency that attracts. Money, it can be gotten if you pursue it, but it's a hard road to toe and it's hard to hold on to. Why? Because you're always in pursuit of it. When you've set up a situation in which you are now touching lives, the more lives you touch, the more gates open up and money comes in. It doesn't mean that you charge everybody you touch. I'm constantly doing things in which I don't get paid. Didn't get paid yesterday. I'm constantly doing things that cost me and I'm not getting paid. Now, most people don't hear about those things because that's me touching lives of people who need me in certain ways who can't afford what I do. But what I have learned is as I put out, I'm not expecting from the people I touch in that way for them to come back to me. What I'm expecting is I've planted in the universe a forceful seed that is now in process of gestating and producing the things that I desire in life, and they're coming back to me more than likely from a different direction. And see, the problem is a lot of us are so short-sighted that we destroy long-term potential. Now, there are people who come to me and the first thing they ask is, how much do you charge? And I tell them, and before we ever get into a discussion, that turns them off and they run off. Well, you asked me point blank what I charge. I don't know a number to give you that's not going to be insulting to you. So I tell you the truth. This is what I charge. Now it's up to you. And no, not everybody that comes to me with their story is going to have me say, you know what, don't worry about it, because then my family don't eat. I have to trust my spirit and know when to touch. And my thing is, I trust that. I'm not going to talk about how I evaluate situations and what makes me do this and what makes me do that. Speaking of which, while I'm thinking about it, I meant to say this in the beginning. We have discontinued the free, for all intents and purposes. We've definitely discontinued the promotion of the free rapid change breakthrough sessions and business breakthrough sessions until further notice. Maybe sometime in the future I'll tell you why, but they've been discontinued. Now moving on. We have a responsibility to ourselves. And in that responsibility is the need for us to fulfill a potential, to raise the level of performance in life, and to properly align priorities based on who you are as a person. And when money is at the top, character is always at risk and compromise, because if the first priority is money, then where are your character and where's your value? Nobody's perfect. There's always mistakes, but I'm talking about consistency in performance, consistency in dealing with people, consistency in raising the level of your impact. And so you have to have character and values and interests and principles, priorities. You know, my family is my first priority. My wife is my ultimate priority. And then I work my way down. And so I find the place where I operate when I'm operating outside of the family. When I'm operating inside of the family, it's real easy. When I'm operating outside the family, there's so much coming at me. I get calls every day from people who need me. I get emails by the bundle. I get people calling me on Facebook Messenger. By the way, I do not answer calls on Facebook Messenger. I eventually get to the inbox messages. You got to understand, when you're getting hundreds of messages a day on multiple pages, it can be a while getting to them, but I do the best I can. If it's very ambiguous, you know, hey, what's up? Probably not gonna get a response. You know, hey, how you doing? Probably not gonna get a response, simply because I can't answer all of, or that would be all I did every day. When someone sends me a message and it's very clear and they make it clear what they want to talk to me about or what they need advice on, I respond. So the ambiguous things, the calls, the video, especially video, you video call, no, that's not how I do it. So, but the thing is, I have a way of responding and trying to meet everything. And some of my best moments are things I didn't plan. I'm out somewhere and I run into somebody and I decide to share with them. I'm out somewhere and somebody's going through something and you can look in their eyes and tell. Or, you know, you run across the homeless person. And having been through what I've been through, I have an affinity with homeless people. And my thing is, I want them to feel human. And that sounds crazy to the average person, but I want them to feel human. And what I mean by that is, most homeless people feel invisible. They feel less than human. They feel unrecognized, unvalued. And so my goal is to value them. It is to look them in their eyes and acknowledge them. It is to listen to them and their complaints or their concerns or their wishes and their desires. It is to acknowledge what they're saying with a sense of concern and care. It's not something you could throw $1 or a $5 bill at and feel. But when you're listening to them and you're looking in their eyes and you see their eyes light up, when you sit up and you talk to them and, you know, you share with them and you understand where they're at and the things you can't say to them and the things you can say to them, and you engage them, you have a sense of engaging them where they're at without judgment, without being condescending, just being there and caring. And those are some of the great moments. And then I'm always blessed for lack of a better term. When I do that, I'm always blessed to be in a place where I'm touching lives, and it always comes back. And my struggle is, and here we are back to the relationship with money. My struggle is, where do I cut off that, and where does the business pick up? Because the practice of doing things for nothing in business means you won't be in business long. So how do you separate the two? And a lot of it is solely based on, what I'm able to do organically. When I'm out, I'm not looking for somebody to call me as much as I am just looking for an opportunity. For people who reach out to me, you're reaching out to the businessman. I deliver on what I do. I'm exceptionally good at what I do. So when people come at me that way, it's going to be me saying, hey, this is what I do, this is what I charge. When I go looking for the opportunity, it's the opportunity as it presents itself. It doesn't mean that everybody that comes to me, if you don't have money, I won't deal with you. Number one is, anybody in crisis, I'm going to do what I have to do to at least get you out of crisis and get you pointed in the right direction. That's just something I do. Somebody calls me and say, hey, I have a nephew that's having suicidal ideation. I'm gonna say, well, hey, I charge, if you want to do it, let me know. It's like, hey, give me his number, or have him call me, or have him hook up with me, or whatever. And I do that all the time. But at the same time, you have to know how to balance those, because if not, people will play on your passion. They will rape your gift, and they will leave you and your family broke. And what you have to do is know how to give. And see, to me, what I do for a living isn't giving. I'm being paid for that. That's not giving, that's earning, and I'm good with that. So I have to find ways to give. I have to find the right opportunities, the right moments, and I have to create that balance. But it's the balance in it that allows me the opportunity to earn what I earn. So in that, I'm sharing with you, look, your relationship with money is going to be highly indicative of how you engage the need for money or the acquisition of funds. There are going to be difficult times in the building and the expanding process that we're going through right now. We meet challenges because we are pushing hard and we're doing so many different things. But the thing is, when you have an idea of who you are and you understand that you are the ultimate value, you'll be able to work out and work through that. So with that being said, look, I'm gonna get off of here. I didn't mean to spend this much time, but it's something that needed to be touched. I know a lot of people just want the techniques. What are the techniques? What are, the things you can do to make money? But the thing is, the mentality is not only going to allow you to acquire financial assets like currency or money or whatever you want to call it, but it's going to allow you to have the mindset to keep it. And it's also going to give you the mindset that you don't become frenetic and unglued if you were to lose it. There are a bunch of people who lose it and just fall apart, kill themselves, end up just falling apart and never ever recovering because they don't have the right relationship with money. Money has become so important to them that the absence of it causes them to lose their own definition or definition of self or sense of identity. It's in knowing who you are. See, I have a clear understanding that I am the most valuable asset in my life. My wife is the most powerful and valuable gift. But as far as the asset of me being able to make things happen in my life, that's me. That's my mind. It's my ability to care for others. It's my willingness to get in and put in the work. It's my willingness to sit down and learn and develop and never be satisfied with where I'm at. And what I've learned is, as long as I'm that, I'm always going to have an avenue to come out of whatever I'm going through. So what that means is I'm never in a place where I'm frenetic and unglued. I'm never in a place where I'm anxious. I'm never in a place where I'm losing it. And people will look at me and tell me I'm in denial. No, I'm not in denial. I just know me. I know me. I know my relationship with God. I know my relationship with money. I know my relationship with my purpose. And so I'm not shaken because the answer is out there and it's on its way to me. and it'll arrive in time for me to knock this out of the park. It always has. And so when you understand who you are and you put yourself in the right alignment with that, then money simply becomes a means to accomplish things that are meaningful to you. But if money becomes the end all be all, you're going to have problems. You simply are. Some place is going to be out of balance in your life, and you have to understand that. Look, I'm going to get out of here. I'll be dropping in with some shorter things throughout the day. Stay tuned. If you haven't gotten the book, get the book. The book, I had a lot of people stop me on two books. Critical Mass is one of them while we were at the convention this weekend. And I wasn't really expecting a lot of critical mass talk because the convention was the all Black convention, and critical mass is about life change for anybody. It's not race centered, so I wasn't expecting a lot of it, but a lot of people who follow me have gotten that book and showed up and, gave me hugs, talked to me about the book. And, so it was a great experience in that, we are touching lives at the Visionetics Institute. We're also touching lives out of the Odyssey Project. And, I'm excited about the work that's going to be done between now and the end of the year. So stay tuned on that. But become clear about where you're at in your relationship with money. Is money controlling you, or the need for money controlling you? Or are you centered and understand the vast power of who you are and the unlimited, untapped value that you have resting inside of you that will set the stage for you to bring money to you, to attract it to you? That's what's got to be important. That's what you have to understand. And so with that being said, look, I'm going to check out. I'll see you guys later. Have an unbelievably awesome day. Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here. I hope that you guys are off to a great start as far as your week is concerned. I hope that you are coming off of a good week where things went well, were profitable, prosperous, and productive. Even if it wasn't, make a recommitment this week, make the necessary adjustments, and get back in the game. This is a marathon. This is a game of perseverance and resilience. It is about making the necessary adjustments. It's about remaining committed and finishing what you're starting. Not everything is going to go your way. That's something that you're going to have an understanding of and be okay with, because things simply happen. Nobody's perfect. No situation is perfect. There's always going to be something that you're working against. That is a part of the process. You have to prepare yourself to be in process. You have to give yourself permission to be in process. The moment that there's nothing wrong with the pursuit of perfection. But what you have to understand is the pursuit of perfection is the pursuit of completion. And in the pursuit of completion, you are going to be always moving towards it. When you're complete and finished, you're done. That means you finished your work. That's the end of the game. That's when you shut it down and you call it a wrap at the end of life. When you look up and you are able to read the pages of your legacy that you've built, that you're leaving the world, that's when you reach perfection, is when it's done. It's not about everything being absolutely in alignment. Perfection is completion. It means that what you started to do has been absolutely done to its fullest. There's nothing left to do. And so you're pursuing perfection, but perfection is a far way off. What you're doing is you're going through the process of achieving perfection. And in the midst of that, you're going to have disruptions. You've got to be okay with that. That's just simply the way it is. I'm going to be brief again this week, but I just want to hit something home. There are a number of different things that are at the top of the list, say the top 10 reasons why people fail at business. And what I want to talk to you about today is definitely in the top 5. And it's an unwillingness or an inability to invest in oneself. And when I say that, I mean in every way possible. Investing time, investing energy, investing effort, investing capital, currency, and resources into yourself. I see people all the time attempting to fund business ideas that they have not invested in themselves. One of the things that an average venture capitalist or angel funder or someone that understands what investment in business and venture is, one of the things we're going to look at, how much have you already put in of your own resources, whether it's time, energy, effort, money. They're going to want to see what's invested. Just the idea alone is not going to attract true investors, people who will put in the money necessary to fund your idea. There's money out there. There's always capital out there. There's always resources. And I tell people all the time, your number one resource is your resourcefulness. It's not the money you have in the bank. It's not the people you have on speed dial. It's not your potential investors. It's your resourcefulness, the ability to know what you need and find a way to get it. That's going to be what holds you together. That's going to be what provides the confidence to create calmness in some very hostile and volatile situations as you're trying to work this thing out. It is a process. But the thing is, that most people want something, but they don't want to invest in it. I tell people all the time, what I see with most people is they have a wish list versus a list of goals, aspirations, and benchmarks. And what's the difference between goals and wishes? Goals are something you look at, you measure the cost, and you pay the price. Goals are something you sit up and you say, okay, I'm going to have to put this in. I'm going to have to invest this. I'm going to have to take this much time. I have to do this. Then you pay the price and you reap the reward. A wish list is is a list of things people want but are not willing to pay for, not willing to put in the work for, not willing to be committed to. That's a wish list. It's just something on paper that looks nice, and it will be fun if you were able to do it. It'll be great if you were able to have it. But the truth of the matter is, you're not putting in the work. You're not investing. You're not putting skin in the game. And then you'll turn around and want people to support something in which you have not supported. Sitting up and saying you want to do it, sitting up saying that you're good enough to do it is not enough. You have to be able to put in the work. You have to be willing to put in the work. You got to be willing to take some of your own paper and invest it in yourself, invest it in courses, invest it in material, invest it in inventory, invest it in whatever it needs to grow you. You're going to have to invest in yourself at some point in time. You're going to have to become better than you are, because you have people out there that are competing for the same market, and you have to have an understanding of how you're going to establish and distinguish yourself in the market. You can't go into a market and think just because you're offering something that people will automatically gravitate to it. So you got to know how to brand. You're going to have to invest in your branding, in your marketing campaign. You're going to have an ad spend. I don't care what it is you're doing. Organic business is great. It's a good supplement, but primarily you got to have a tried and proven method of driving business to you. And then you got to have a tried and proven method of retaining the business, because that's business longevity, not conversion, but retention. And you have to understand that conversion is turning someone that's not a customer into a customer. Businesses live off of retention, taking customers you have converted and retaining them through developing relationships with them that create what we call trust. And that's where you get your customer loyalty from. It's in the process of knowing how to do all of these things, but that doesn't come free. That has a cost to it. And what I see and what really bothers me is how many people want something that they're not willing to invest in. And then they expect someone else to invest in them. You are going to have to be your first investor. You're going to have to find, I don't care if you don't have a dime in your pocket, you've got to find a way to put some skin in the game. You got to find a way to be invested. You got to show somebody the effort you've put into being what you say you're going to be if they back you. That may be 10,000 hours of research, and analytical processing that says, I've literally put 10,000 hours into understanding this. I know the market inside and out. Here's my plan. This is how it would work. This is how it compares to this. I've done this work. I've put it in. And then if you've got money, you can't hold money and expect to get money. You're going to have to put some money out there, invest in some things that will bring back a reward. You've got to understand that principle. You are going to have to be willing to put money in the game, put energy in the game, put effort in the game to a point where you literally develop momentum spiritually. I know we're talking business, but you've got to develop a momentum spiritually that the universe is hearing you, that the universe is responding to you, that the universe is answering your demands. And life and the universe and whatever else you want to say will pay whatever price you demand, but it's going to have a counter demand. If you say you want this business, the universe is going to demand that you sacrifice some time. If you say you want this business, the universe is going to demand that you take some money that you might want to spend on a vacation or something else and invest it in this business idea. The universe is going to demand that you prove that you're consistently, entirely committed to having it. And then the universe is going to say, now I'll meet you halfway. I will conspire with you to produce this thing you want. It has to be done in that way. I cannot stress this enough. With that being said, I'm going to check out of here. Got so much more to do, but I had to stop by this morning and give you this. Take it at face value, take it for what it is. But I'm telling you, if you don't invest in you, you can't expect anybody else to. And there is just this dynamic that is created when you put blood, sweat, tears, and money into something you believe in. You really truly own it, and it becomes a part of who you are, and it becomes a dynamic force that moves you forward. It's just a wish until you put some skin in the game. With that being said, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day. As I always say, live your life on full so that you die on E. Have a great day.
From a conceptual perspective, people talk about success. All of the elements they think, intelligence, expertise.
What other doors could they close?
Hey, how much am I willing to give up and are not committed to the struggle, acquiescing to the struggle? They're committed